All right. So we are in for CSI, our monthly meeting that we kind of just go over all of the great things for CSI. If you haven't already, if you would go into the chat, it looks like a lot of people already are doing this, but if you will go in and type your name and what school you're at, that'll help us with some other activities later on, as well as remembering to give you credit for this. We would greatly appreciate it. Just go on and just sign your name and your school. All right, so today, this is kind of the agenda that we're gonna go by. A lot of it is kind of overlapping. We are going to have a great guest speaker from Horace Mann. She's gonna come up first, and then Shannon Southwell, who some of y'all have probably heard her voice or seen a Zoom from her before. She's gonna be talking about RTI. Because RTI, and then the next thing, lesson planning, annotating, those were the two big things from our November suggestions that you did at the end of our October CSI. So we added those to our presentation and our training for today so that we could make sure and customize this to meet your needs. For classroom management, we're going to do a kind of model a tip as far as some ideas that we have learned from a breakout room for a training that we did. So we're going to kind of model that for you. And with that embedded is we're going to be doing some lesson planning and annotation. That was the other thing that y'all were really questioning about some of those. So we have some teachers that are actually doing this on a daily basis, just along with you, that are going to actually model and kind of think aloud how they annotate to kind of show you. You can tell somebody all day long, but until you see it done and explained, may not always make sense. Then we have a couple of miscellaneous things that we're going to do at the end with documentation for you as a mentee and some great announcements, and then answer any questions you have. So we're going to get started with our first guest speaker. We have Virginia Bullock, who is from Horace Mann. I'm going to let her kind of give all the information about her and what she does. And so Virginia, at this time, I am going to stop sharing and you can take over.
There we go. Okay, hi there. How are y'all doing?
Hi, Virginia.
So I'm new to this technology stuff on Zoom. I haven't done it very much, but I think it's pretty cool. So I'm with Horace Mann Insurance. We're the 403B provider of with Caddo Parish Schools. And so if y'all haven't started saving supplementally for retirement, we want to encourage you to do so, because even though you think that you might have enough money when you retire through your teacher retirement, guess what? Your paycheck stops growing. It's stuck in that time when you retire, and the cost of everything continues to rise, right? Because of inflation. And so you might retire and then 10 years down the road, you might not have enough money to live on. So start saving now. When I first started working, I had my babies and I had a 401k opportunity with my employer. And I said, well, golly, I can't afford to save for my retirement. I got to buy diapers and formula, right? Well, my supervisor said, my nickname is Sissy. She says, well, Sissy, all you have to do is save $50 a month and you will be surprised how much it will grow if you work it, put it in the market. And so I took her advice, and now I have a nice little nest egg. And so if I wouldn't have taken her advice, I would not have this extra money, right? And so one thing that you want to look at, where all the elementary schools are across Caddo Parish, they're in neighborhoods, right, where those were nice new neighborhoods when those schools went in there. And if you look around, you'll see these homes literally falling down around them, right? And so why is that? I'm going to tell you why. The people retired and their paycheck stopped, right? And they didn't have the money now to fix their homes up. And so that's why you see these neighborhoods with houses that have tarps on the roof and all that. So anyway, bottom line is save now and have for the future. And so the main focus of me being on this Zoom meeting is about the student loan debt, right? So how many of y'all have student loan debt? Okay. And so there's the teacher loan forgiveness program and the public service loan forgiveness program. So let me get my PowerPoint up here real quick. Okay. So there's a lot of student loan debt out there. A lot of teachers don't realize that they have the opportunity to work the public service loan forgiveness program. But I'm just going to go through these slides to make this short and sweet as possible. And so we have helped many educators remove, reduce, and redirect those loans. What does that mean? Remove, helping people on that path to forgiveness. Reduce, making sure they're on the right income-driven payment while working one of the programs. Redirect means
Virginia,
to
I don't
actually
think you
refinance.
prepared your screen yet.
Oh, I didn't? Okay.
No. Do you see the green
Okay.
button where it says share screen?
Let me see. I'm new to this technology. Okay, let's see, share screen.
And then it'll ask you to pick if you have. Yeah.
Ta-da. Okay.
Tech tip. There we go.
There you go. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're just going to go past these slides. So remove, reduce, and redirect. I already mentioned all that. And so that's what we're talking about. So there's the teacher loan forgiveness program. And so with the teacher loan forgiveness program, you can't have had any loans at all prior to October 1st, 1998. I know that newer educators there don't have to worry about that, but you know, some of the older educators, they may. So they may not even ever qualify for teacher loan forgiveness. There's only the two types of loans that qualify for teacher loan forgiveness is the direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans, as well as the FFEL loan. Most teachers would only get $5,000 forgiven, whereas if you're in special education or highly qualified secondary math or science teacher, you get up to $17,500 forgiven. But the kicker is that you have to work in a Title I school for 5 consecutive years. And so in regards to like my daughter, she's a teacher in Bossier, and she had started her teaching career at Waller Elementary. And so she was there for 4 years, and then she moved to Elm Grove Elementary. Well, Elm Grove Elementary was just being established, so she didn't end up with those 5 consecutive years. So whenever you're thinking about making changes within the school district or a school, you know, maybe even moving to another district, you want to make sure that if you're working that teacher loan forgiveness program, to make sure you get those 5 consecutive years, okay? Then there's the public service loan forgiveness program. So the public service loan forgiveness program, a lot of people don't know about it. They don't understand it, okay? But it's for all employees. You don't have to be a teacher. You can be the custodian and have student loan debt and be able to work this program. And so what it does, it will actually reduce the time. It's a 10-year program. And so it's really complicated for the fact that you have to be on the right income-driven payment. Only direct loans qualify for this program. But if you have another type of loan, you can consolidate into a direct loan. But then, you know, if you've been paying on those loans, then your time is going to start over once you get into a direct loan. Okay. But there's 5 qualifying payments that qualify for the public service loan forgiveness program. And so you got to make sure that everything's fitting together just right. You've got to make sure those loans are right and that payment plan's right. One thing that I have come across with helping a lot of the educators on this program is that they've been paying on their loans and they've been on this income driven payment, right? But they don't have the right loan. And so they've been paying on these payments, and so they have to start over, right, to get that forgiveness. Then the other thing is that a lot of these loan servicers, they will encourage people to get on forbearance or deferment, right? And so what's that doing? It's just causing those loans to grow. And while people are on forbearance or deferment, that wrecks people's credit. Okay, so that's the worst thing you can ever do, is get on that forbearance or deferment program. Okay, and so Horace Mann has been helping educators since 2016 to understand this program, the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. So if you have a lot of student loan debt, it might be the thing for you to do. And so you can actually create an account with Tuition.io through the link that's going to be on the bottom of the, well, it'll be in this presentation, but I believe it's also in the intro that Cassie put on there. And so you can actually calculate your loan forgiveness, determine which the best plan for you, and also they have support and guidance with a counselor. Okay, so there's also resources through Tuition.io. Now, it used to be that Horace Mann was doing this through the home office with our Student Loan Solutions team, but now they've gone to this new platform, this Tuition.io. Okay, and so I'm going to be giving away 3 $50 gift cards of your choice. And so how to be in the drawing for that $50 gift card is to set up your account with the Student Loan Solution account through this link here. You can scan that QR code, and that will take you right to the link to do that, put your information in and go through the steps. You can also schedule a one-on-one appointment with me to possibly to talk about retirement planning or any of our other products that we offer. And I'm going to go on and throw in another third way. If you'll send me an email, I'm going to give you my email address. And if you send me an email that you want a copy of this presentation, then that'll be a third way to get in on the drawing. Okay? So does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Okay, so I'm sorry?
I said just they'll make sure they email you if they do.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So my email is my name, Virginia.Bullock@horacemann.com.
And her email address and stuff will be in our the PowerPoint that we the slide deck that we'll share with you as well. So Virginia, if you will click stop share.
Okay.
I'm going to pull it.
Yeah. Can you give us that email again?
It's on the slides that I'm fixing to show.
Okay, thank you. I was going to put it in the chat.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. I can do that. Where's the chat?
So in the slide deck that I am sharing, it's going to eventually, oh, I went too far. There's the link for to sign up for the account. There's the QR code, Virginia, that you had. I have 2 chances to win, but the deadline is by the 10th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so we will, and your email address is on the slide right here.
Yes, ma'am.
There and here. So we will, they will be able to get in touch with you, and we appreciate you. And we always love chances to win gift cards. So thank you.
There you go. All right. Well, thank y'all so much, and y'all have a great day.
Have a great day.
All right. Bye.
Okay, guys. So Shannon Southwell is coming up next. So Shannon, do you want to do your screen, or do you want me to Vanna for you? We can't hear you. You need to.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Either way is fine. I don't mind sharing, or if you want to Vanna, I can just tell you when to move to the next.
I'll just Vanna for you.
Okay, that sounds good. Now I might take it over here in a minute though. If we still have time, I might show some resources.
Well, then let me just share my screen and your screen and you can have it all.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So the ball is in your court now.
All right.
Awesome.
So, all right. Some of you guys I know very well. Some of you guys I have seen your names on some of the PDs that got pushed out on October 23rd. So it's good to finally put a face with a name. But what I decided after talking to Ms. Harwell, we decided to put together this crash course of what an intervention is. And I'm going to try to give you as much resource as I can today, but I would just want to be very honest. RTI is a very intentional piece of our day, and it does take some planning and time. That comes easier, like the better you get with looking at your data, knowing your curriculum, the easier it is to plan an RTI lesson. So I'll give you as much as I can today to kind of give you like this snapshot and just lay a foundation. But I'm just going to be very honest that you're probably going to be very overwhelmed at the end of this. So I'll also make sure that you have my email address and you can always reach out. I'm happy to come sit one-on-one and help you plan out your intervention. And I'm just so excited that we have so many new teachers who are ready to dive into this already. So this just makes me super happy. So RTI is that crucial part of our day in instruction that helps us to bridge the gap between where our students are in the grade level and where they're actually at in their instructional level. And we want to make sure that when we plan, we do so purposeful, because we want that time to be spent to actually have impact on the student. We already have enough work. We're very overworked as educators. And so we want to make sure that everything we do is effective in growing students. So I'll talk a little bit about the purpose of RTI, but I'm also going to go through the 3 steps. So how do you look at your data to plan your RTI? How do you plan it? And then how do you monitor student progress? So with RTI, the first thing I need to do is make sure that you guys understand the difference between core instruction and intervention. So every child receives Tier 1 whole class research-based core instruction. That's Zern, CKLA, guidebooks, illustrative math, collections, depending on what grade level you're at. That's our Tier 1, what you teach every day. That's your curriculum. Intervention is when we address the needs of students that are not mastering content with Tier 1 instruction alone. So these are the students, I give the whole group lesson, they continuously struggle. That's when intervention comes into play. This can include reteaching, multisensory techniques like pulling in manipulatives or having students touch things, act things out, teaching standards from the previous grade level or teaching skills from the previous grade level, scaffolding questions starting at the who and the what before we start asking students to make inferences. All of those are layers of support. And so we continuously add layers of support to help a student do better with their grade level instruction. Now, at the very end of this, if we've given all these layers of support and a student is still not bridging the gap, that's when we do a special education evaluation. Now, while it's necessary, special education is not the end goal for intervention. The end goal for intervention is to get kids accessing grade level material. But we know that some students are just not going to learn in the same way as the typical child. And in that case, we do have the special education to step in and help us. It's important to remember, though, that special education is a set of services. It is not a place. And so this is a set of services that are going to help students to do better with their grade level instruction. So it gives them some instructional level pieces, it adds in those layers of support, and it helps that student to get to the grade level. So we want every student accessing Tier 1 curriculum, but when that's not, when we have students that cannot do that, we add in these other layers of support. And then if you guys have any questions, I'm not looking at the chat. So Ms. Harwell, if you see any questions, let me know. Or if y'all want to unmute yourself, feel free to do so. So I am going to ask you guys to kind of speak out in this next part. So this is Shannon. And so the first step is to analyze data. So we're going to think through Shannon's data for a second. So Shannon is a struggling reader. However, she can actually take the words off the paper just fine. So she is decoding. She's able to read the text, the words off the paper. She can also spell really well, and she's actually reading 130 words a minute. However, she's not able to tell me anything that she's reading. So she struggles with completing the reading logs. She struggles with completing graphic organizers. She fails the cold reads. She fails the culminating writing task, but boy, she gets those words off those paper. So the teacher decides to give her lots of phonics. So she reteaches short vowels and how to say each sound and blend the sounds together. And she really helps her to understand symbols and each one of those letter symbols and what sounds they make. So is this teacher giving what Shannon needs?
No.
No.
No, why not?
I think she has a problem with comprehension, huh?
Yes, she has a comprehension issue, not a
Fluency.
Phonemic issue.
Yeah, you guys got it. Yes, look, yes, you're right. You're on the right track. She does not have phonemic awareness issue. She doesn't have a fluency issue. That's all decoding. So she can decode just fine. So this teacher is working, in my opinion, harder, not smarter, because she's giving a lot of time and effort into something that Shannon does not actually need. Okay, let's pretend then. So this is a new Shannon. And let's say that you tested Shannon on advanced literacy and you know she scored at the 16th percentile, and my RTI coach said, if they're at the 16th percentile or below, they're struggling. They might need some intervention. So what are we going to do to help Shannon based off this 16th percentile advanced literacy score? Do we know what she needs?
Yeah, I guess we have to analyze her data and find where her problem actually is. So, is her problem decoding? Is her problem sounds? Or is it reading comprehension? So I guess we have to analyze her work to see where she needs the intervention.
Perfect, exactly. So we have a number, but this number only tells us that she's possibly struggling. This number only helps me to identify that Shannon could be a learner in my class that could fall through the gaps. But this number doesn't tell me anything about what Shannon needs. So I wouldn't be able to stop with this number alone. And so this is why we analyze our data. We want to make sure that we are targeting exactly what a student needs. This saves us time, it saves us effort in the long run, and it helps us to make sure that we have the most impact on student achievement. A couple things to remember when you're looking at your data. Only use your numbers to help you identify the most intensive students in your class. That's just going to help you to identify. Your interventions need to be targeted based on what the students need, but your groups can be flexible. So as students start to master things, your group might change a little bit based on what every kid in your class needs. But if you start with the student work, you're going to end up saving yourself time and energy in the long run. So let's look at some student work. This is a spelling inventory, and I'll show you guys how to find the spelling inventory in just a minute. But this is a spelling inventory, and it's already been graded for you. And so you guys can see if it has a check mark, the student actually spelled it correctly. And the teacher wrote out next to it if whatever the word was supposed to be. So based off this spelling inventory, what are some of the skills that need to be retaught to this student?
Sounds.
Okay, they need some sounds. Which sounds?
K sound or the C sound or the CK sound for one.
Okay, yes. Okay, perfect. That's a digraph. Okay. What about here?
The E to F.
So short vowel E versus long vowel E.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, the vowels.
Yes, I think, is that Miss Simon?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey
Yeah.
again. Very good. So we have some advanced advanced vowel patterns that need to be retaught. Definitely some sounds. So here, you know, having that CA versus that PE. So we definitely even have some CVC words. Now, if I told you this was a third grader, how would you feel with this being a third grader? Are they doing pretty good? Would you say that they're most intensive, just a little intense?
A little intense.
A little intense, yes, yes. Now, what if I told you this was a sixth grader?
Definitely needs a lot of work.
It changes the conversation considering this was a primary spelling inventory, right? This is what we
Right.
give to our K2 students. All right, perfect. So that's a spelling inventory, but let's take a look. This is a writing, and I'm going to give you about 1 minute to read through this, but just to set the context for you, this is a third grade student, and this third grade student was asked to write a trickster tale. So they had to take the tale from Cajun folk tales and mimic it. So writing a trickster tale. So in the chat box, send me a few things that you would work on with this child. So take a minute to read it, and then in the chat box, 1 or 2 things that you would work on with this babe.
Not just spelling specific, right? Like everything.
Yes, anything that you see in this writing.
CVC for one thing.
Okay. Tricky words. I see somebody sent me tricky words.
I'm trying to see where I write. This is the first time I've done this.
And Miss Simon, if you just want to share out versus putting in the chat box, that's okay.
I'm seeing punctuation in the chat. I'll just read them for you, Shannon.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Thank
With
you.
a capital letter and end with a period. Periods in capitalization. So
Yes. Yeah. Let's take about 10 more seconds. Anything else?
quotation work.
Quotation, yes. Knowing when to use those quotation marks. So the interesting thing about this third grader, she actually did
Plural,
meet
singular.
plural and single, yes. So she actually did meet the objective of the writing. So she was able to write a trickster's tale, and I was able to follow what she was trying to say throughout this. But she definitely has some sentence mechanics. So this is literally one whole sentence. It just keeps on going and going.
Right.
Yes, we need to teach her when to end a sentence.
I run.
Did somebody say something?
Oh, she said
I
run on.
just said run.
Yes, like one whole run on, right? Also knowing exactly when to use those quotation marks. She's doing good. I like to see that she's using those quotation marks, but also adding in those commas. So she definitely has some sentence mechanics. But this student is actually doing pretty well. So if this third grader came into me, you've got some basic sentence structure, some sentence mechanics, and just really teaching her how to organize her ideas very thoughtfully. But she's got a very good foundation. So this is a child that would be very easy to push to that next level. All right, so this was a culminating writing task. But let's look at this math, because I know I got some math friends on here. So this is a matrix report from the diagnostic, the first 9 weeks diagnostic, and it is sorted by standard. So you guys can see this is a third grade example. So you can see the second grade standards up here. And based off this diagnostic report, I can tell exactly which students have not mastered this standard. Now, if you guys need help on how to pull a matrix report, shoot me an email and I'll send you a video on how to pull this report where it actually shows the standards across the top. But it's just a real quick snip on when you're in Illuminate, a quick fix, and you can get it grouped by standards. So if I know that in the first 9 weeks, my kids are going to be working on some geometry standards, and I know that this geometry standard is a prerequisite skill, they have had to master this in order to do well with the curriculum. What's going to happen to these babies if I don't help them master this standard?
they're not going to be able to do what you're teaching them in class.
They're not going to be able to do that grade level work. Now, what if I reteach this standard quickly or to a point where they can master it before I teach the grade level standard? How is that going to change what happens in my classroom?
Then they'll probably be able to get the grade level material.
Yes, they're more. Now, that doesn't mean, now we're not always guaranteed, right? We're not always guaranteed that they're just going to get it and run with it, but they're definitely more likely. So if we pull this matrix report and we group these students by standard, then I know exactly where I need to remediate so that my students are ready for the grade level content. Oops. All right. And then we can also look at the student work. So this was an exit ticket. So take a minute to read the problem and look at how the students solved the problem. So what do you guys notice about this, babe?
She's got her multiplication and division all mixed up.
Yeah, so the student really doesn't know when to multiply versus when to divide. But look at this. What else do I see?
That they do know how to multiply.
They do know how to multiply. So this student can multiply. I'd be curious to know, could this student turn this into a division fact? But I can clearly see here that the student knew 3 times 15 equals 45. They even drew a picture that exactly matched that. But she didn't understand that we were actually taking 15 as a total and breaking it into those 3 groups, 3 equal groups. And so that's where we would want to work with this student, is understanding the difference. She has the procedural fluency, but she's missing the conceptual understanding. So
Right.
Go ahead. Does somebody have something to share?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So exactly, 3 divided by 15 should be 15 divided by 3. So we would need to really work with this baby on that conceptual understanding to help them understand. So based off of this, if you think about it, if I went off just an N score, if I said alone, oh, the child scored in the 10th percentile or the child scored in the 5th percentile, does that give me as much information as looking at the student work?
No, ma'am.
No.
Right. All right. So when we think about curriculum, where can we look? Where is the student work? So this is the student work opportunities that you would want to look at. And then I know we have some science friends on here. So Ms. Towner, Mr. Bird, I know or Mr. Samuel at Bird, I know you guys for sure are science teachers. Your assessments are going to look a little bit different. So thinking about the assessments that you use, the writings as well, are all places that you guys can assess student learning. So take a second to look at that. So are there any questions about any of these assessment pieces that? All right, so I'm gonna move forward. That was like the most quick way that I could do a crash course in data analysis possible. I don't think I've ever gotten through data analysis that fast. So I will tell you guys that there is a more in-depth training. It is all self-paced on Nearpod. It would take you anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to do, and you will get credit for PD. It's open all the way up until June 1st, I think is when I put it. But you would go to joinnearpod.com and you'll put in the code. So we have, if you're a guidebook teacher, ELA 3rd through 8th, you'd put in this code, K5 math. And then CKLA, because the diagnostics are so different, you would either want to do kindergarten 1st or 2nd based on what grade level you're at. So if you want to take a second to write those codes down, but they're also in Kickup. And again, you will get credit for doing that training if you complete it. All right. So once we know what our students need, that's when we can actually take it to the lesson plan and we can plan our RTI. So this is a lesson plan that you can find on the Caddo RTI website. So that's at cadorti.org. You'll click on documents, and then you'll click on the Caddo RTI manual. And the template, this template is in the end of that manual. So if you like this template, if you want to use it for RTI, if your school has not given you something, some schools have different templates that they want to use. But if you don't have a template and you need one, you can find it here. If you liked the spelling inventory and you want to give that, it's also on this page. All right, so I suggest with every lesson that you start with a warm-up. And for K2 and 3rd through 5th grade reading, I suggest that being a phonemic awareness activity. So anything through the ears, no letters, where we're just sounding out and blending words, that's really going to help to beef up our students' ability to read. Then you'll notice that on each day, the structure is the same. So like I told you guys, I'm all about working smarter, not harder. I keep the structure the same because I can use the same best practices and flesh in the skill that I need. So each day I'm using chaining, but I'm just changing the spelling pattern that I'm focusing on, or the phonics pattern that I'm focusing on. And then I have, once I reteach it, then we want to have that guided practice opportunity. So I'm going to reteach, then we're going to practice it together. Not every day you'll have an independent. That's going to be based on where your students are at. Are they ready for an independent assignment, or do they need continuous guided practice? And not every day is going to be a progress monitoring, an official progress monitoring, but progress monitoring can be outside of iSteep as well. So you might have some other ways that you want to see, is a student actually mastering what you're teaching? So this is an example of a K2. So I would reteach the I. We would listen to it first, then we'd practice writing it, then we'd do some chaining. And if you're a K2 teacher, you know what I'm talking about with the phonics chaining. We do some lines of practice. And then you'll notice here that I put the Kinder book 5. So this would be skills 5. It doesn't matter where you're at. You can always go back to the instructional level. So if you're a 2nd grade teacher and you have friends that are reading on a kindergarten level, then go back to kindergarten and pull kindergarten material. Because any of my CKLA teachers, you guys have access to all of the grade levels. So go back if you need to and pull materials in to help your babies access that code. For 3rd through 5th grade, again, it's the same exact structure. The only thing I did is I fleshed in a new skill. So I'm reteaching the I in a closed syllable. Then we're going to do it in multi-syllable words. We're going to practice decoding those multi-syllable words. We're going to read that passage, and then we're going to answer some key details. So again, it's the same exact structure. The only thing that's changing is the skill each day. And then for math, we would start with a fluency. It's the same thing in math. You can always go back. So if you're a 3rd grade math teacher and you need to go back to some 2nd grade fluencies, you have that option to do that. Remodel the skill or the standard that you're teaching. Pull in manipulatives and pictures whenever possible. Take them back to the concrete. So when you think of CRA, think of concrete, representation, abstract. Concrete means they're using manipulatives. Representation, they're using pictures. And then abstract, they're right back down to numbers. And you might have Monday is all concrete, Tuesday is all representation, Wednesday is all abstract. Whatever your kids need, move at the pace that they need it. And then you can use Achieve the Core and your topic quizzes to monitor if your students are actually mastering that standard that you're reteaching. Now, once you've given a lesson, you do want to make sure that you monitor and adjust. So here I monitored on Friday. I would just listen to them read the story. Are they able to read it? If it has just short vowels in it and they're struggling to read it, I know I need to go back and do more with short vowels. But if they're doing well, I know that I can move forward. For 3rd through 5th grade reading, This would also be the same for 6th through 8th grade, because I know that I saw a couple of our friends are at middle schools. The foundation supports, if we're reteaching this, we can use day 5 from the foundation supports to check for understanding. We can also listen to them read. This will let us know if they're actually making progress with the skill. And then with math, we can use those topic quizzes and achieve the core tasks to monitor if the students are meeting the goal. All right, so I know you guys are probably super overwhelmed right now because that, like I told you guys, that was like a quick, probably the fastest crash course in RTI I've ever given in my entire life. So I will give you a few things to think about. So if you are a Zern teacher, then you have in your mission, so this is grade 3 mission 1 overview, and right here it says foundational mission. So if you need to pull lessons, you're going to click right here because all of these lessons are going to help your babies access this mission. Okay. If you are a K through 8th grade math teacher, you can also use Khan Academy. So you can see that I'm actually logged into my son's Khan Academy. You can see he's been working on some stuff. It gives you the score. It lets you know exactly where the student is proficient or where they need more work. But what I love most about it for my 3rd through 8th grade teachers is it is completely aligned to your curriculum as well. So if you guys see right here, 3rd grade foundations, this is going to be the prerequisite skills for 3rd grade. 3rd grade, that's your on grade level. And it does that all the way through 6th grade. So my 6th through 8th grade math teachers, you have illustrative math, and that's also aligned. So again, if I know my kids are struggling, then I can start in the foundations and I can even pick the module. So if I'm in 3rd grade mission 1 and I have 3 kids that are not ready for this mission, I can go back to 3rd grade mission 1 foundations and Khan, and I can use this to facilitate my RTI. So that's math. Oh, and then the last thing with math, rely heavily on your scope and sequence. Roger Vance and Amanda Perry, they have both included remediation columns. Use those remediations. All of this is directly aligned to what you're teaching, and it's going to help your babies to access that tier 1. So rely heavily on the work that they've done. Any questions from math teachers? Okay. So then for reading teachers, if you're a third and up teacher using guidebook, when you go to your curriculum and you click on unit 1, you have a couple of subfolders, foundation supports and fluency task. Both of those can be used. If you have kids that just need more practice with reading and thinking about what they're reading, come to fluency task. If you have kids that cannot read, come to foundation supports. It has everything you need. It has a teacher guide. So one of these is an actual lesson plan for you to use. And the other piece is what you're going to put in front of the student. So it has the student materials and the teacher guide. You print it out and you can use it as is. And then if you are a CKLA teacher, you have your assessment and remediation guide that you can pull activities from, but you also have this, it's called Foundations Boost. It can be a little bit difficult to find. So if you need help finding it, let me know. But it has the lesson plan in here for you. So this one is advanced decoding of multisyllabic words. So if you have some students that are ready for this, you can pull this, it's scripted. You know exactly what to do. It has each part of it, the I do, the we do, and the you do, and it even includes some more words. Now this is a big one, but for my friends that need to teach like and I, you can go back to 1st grade and you can pull even simpler skills to work on. And all of this is aligned to that CKLA curriculum. All right, any questions from my guidebook teachers? All right. So remember to do the data analysis Nearpods They're self-paced. They're really going to help you to understand what your kids are going through and what your kids need. Before I get off, I will share a document that has some stuff that you guys, all of these resources that I kind of showed you guys, it breaks it down a little bit for you so that you guys can go back and kind of process it on your own time. Because again, I know this was a whole lot at one time. Let me pull it up this way. So I'll put this in.
If you put it in the chat, I'll add the hyperlink to it in the docs and they'll be able to access it later.
Okay, that's perfect. So that's what we'll do because my computer is not being very nice to me right now.
Yeah, if you want to just send it to me, that'll be fine.
I will. I'll put it in the chat box. But I did everything I just showed you guys. I put in that document so that you could go back and look at those resources when you have some time. And then again, if you need support, just let me know. So these are my schools. And then of course, any of my CTAs, you guys can reach out to me. But even if you're at Miss Seamster's school or Ms. Dr. Mitchell's school, they are huge assets. So lean heavily on them. And then of course, if you need to, you can email me as well. And I'll put my email in the chat as well. So again, I know that was very overwhelming, a crash course on probably one of the hardest topics in 30 minutes. I can't even believe I made it in 30 minutes. So is there any questions?
I think we're good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to
appreciate it. And
Miss Shannon,
thank
yes,
you.
ma'am.
I have a question.
Oh,
okay.
Simon has a
For the
question.
CKLA, I do not have a complete set of the CKLA. For instance, I'm working on knowledge. Book 3, I don't have anything up until book 8.
Okay.
How can I go about getting a complete set for the CKLA?
I'm going to send you an email and see exactly what you have, and then we'll reach out to Dr. Gore to see what we need to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, guys. Well, if y'all need anything, shoot me an email. Like I said, I'm happy to come model a lesson. I'm happy to come help you go through your data, and I'm happy to help you plan. So you guys are the ones doing the work. Let me know how I can support you guys. I put my email in the chat box, and yeah, just reach out if you need anything.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, guys. I'll see y'all later.
Okay.
Thank you, Shannon.
Can you stop sharing so I can take back over? Oh, looky there, looky there.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye, Shannon. All right. Let's get back. So, excuse my dogs. So just like with our pause, Patisse, do you want to intro this really quick while I put the dogs out? Or
sure. Do I have
explain what this is, and I'll okay. Take it. Hold on. Go.
All right. Make sure I'm not on. John David, leave the dog alone. I'm unmuted. Okay. You know, part of our training is to model good classroom behaviors. And I 100% believe in brain-friendly education, and brain breaks are very important for your classroom learning. And even when you as an adult have to do evening learning, brain breaks are important. And so since we are not face-to-face, and we still need to model, you know, we still need to share some information with you, because you need to be able to have a brain break. So in looking for some ways to do virtual brain breaks, we came across this website, and we put the link in here, and we wanted to share with you because it would be something that would be great that you could use, especially if you have both virtual and face-to-face kids. So you go to this link and you click go. So we are going to take a virtual brain break. So if you can stand up where you're at, if you're driving, please don't try to do the brain break. Let's go. Let's stand up behind your iPad or computer. And let's do, come on, Holden. Let's do rollerblading in place. 48 seconds. Come on, everybody. Come on, children. Where are my kids? Come on. Rollerblading in place. Come on, Harper.
Have you lost your mind?
Shh, come on. We can hear you. All right, we're doing a little brain break. Whoa, look at you. Go, Mr. Vance. Go. Let's see. Miss Hunt, let's see who else I can see. Go, Holden, go. Show them how to do it. Rollerblading in place.
This is fun.
Come on. 20 seconds left.
I hate I cannot see this. For some reason, it's not letting me see anything.
Okay. Well,
okay. Just to go through the rest of it, because I know we're all tired, but we did want to shift your brains. You can turn the timer off. And
then do push-ups. We're going to skip that one. And
no. And then, you could do the cobra, do a little yoga. And so this is just, it's really cool, y'all, because you can just, it's like a brain break slot machine. So you can just do all kinds of things. It's just really cool. And I love it because you can do it even with your kids at home that are virtual. So you can kind of just get them up and moving around. So we wanted to just share that little tip with you.
What I really liked about it is, it provided some cohesion with your virtual and your face-to-face kids, in so much that we do, it almost feels like this group's here and this group's here. This is a way for you as the teacher of the classroom to really kind of provide that cohesion of, yes, we are one class, we are one group. So anyway, we liked it. We shared it. So moving on.
Right. I'm good. The dogs are done. All right. So going into our next activity, we're actually going to model a strategy that some of you may be familiar with, some of you may not be, but looking at your Zoom icon at right now, so we're going to get ready to do some breakout rooms in just a second. And for me to be able to group you into the like groups, I need to know what grade level you currently teach. So if you will look in your Zoom, up in the top right corner, you'll see those 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, you'll see a menu come up and it'll say rename. When you see rename, if you will rename the grade level that you currently are teaching, if you are teaching a span of grades, just put, 9th and 10th or high school, whatever you want to, however to describe your grade level so that we can put you in the right groups. Candace Bracey Moore from J.S. Clark is a first grade teacher, and she is going to be modeling some annotations for a lesson. I think it's a CKLA lesson, if I'm not mistaken. Katina Lindsay is the 3rd grade, also from J.S. Clark. She is going to be doing a lesson. And then Pam Robinson is an ELA teacher in middle school at Broadmoor. She's going to be doing a guidebook lesson. I remember that one. So when y'all go through, they're going to just kind of do a think aloud and really model. I'm going to open these rooms. We're going to give y'all about 10 minutes and then we're going to check and see how things are going. If we need more time, we'll come back. But let's see, Candace, Katina, and Pam, you should be able to share your screen and model through that. So I'm going to open up some rooms. All right.
All right. So why did we bring to you the information about annotating lesson plans? Because we want you to be able to provide the best to your students. And of course, our teacher evaluations are going to focus around the NIET rubric. And we selected 2 areas of the rubric to focus on that are related to annotation. So there is going to be the full link to the rubric there. And you saw the 4 areas and the spinning wheel of death. And so
instructional planning, lesson planning.
Yeah, and blah, 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 blah. All right, Cassie, make it a little bigger so they can read it.
I'm
So
trying.
when we look at instruction,
Presenting instructional content and pacing is the area we picked.
right. And so when we look at that, and I've got it pulled up on my computer also, so I am I want y'all to know I'm not looking at you for a reason. I can just see it better on my computer because I got old lady eyes. And so, you know, our goal is to get to that middle column. When you realize that some of us on this Zoom right now have been teaching under 100 days, okay? Our goal is to get to that middle column. If we can make it to the far left column, that's fabulous. So when we look at what the descriptors are between them, when you talk about presenting content material, looking at visuals that establish purpose for the lesson and preview the organization of the lesson. Is there proof that you have previewed the lesson? Did you walk in and just go, oh, look, I'm on the next guidebook lesson? Is there proof for that? Look at to the right. To the right might be where we are performing right now. Our goal is to get to the middle. And if you are a super duper overachiever, we want to go all the way to the left. And once again, and we've said this over and over again over the last couple of months, it's all about the verbiage and the actions of what you're doing. They all three, when you look at lesson pacing instruction, all three of them say the lesson starts promptly, or two of them said the lesson starts promptly. On the far left, we've got the lesson did not start promptly. So when your kids come into your classroom, is there evidence that you are prepared and your class is ready to start promptly? Do you have that start when the bell rings? You're together, the kids are together, they know what to do. That the structure's coherent with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay, so if you can do a beginning, a middle, and an end, do you have a beginning, middle, and end, and a time for reflection? So when you were in your breakout rooms just a second ago, and our teacher leaders were sharing information, could you see the beginning, the middle, and the end of their lesson? The person that was sharing, did they possibly share with you how their students would reflect? So if your teacher leader did show you in their lesson planning a time to reflect, and let's just give them credit that they actually would do that in their classroom, then as an evaluator, I would be leaning more to that left column. You do not have to get every single bullet point here. It's the majority of the bullet points. Okay, so scrolling on down, not only in instruction, lesson annotation is important in planning. Cassie, I'm not going to beat that dead horse. I think we've covered it.
I think that's good, but I think we need to talk about the assessment component. Correct. Because I noticed in lesson plans, they talked about how they were checking for that understanding. And I think that needs to be, it's not always a test at the end of a unit.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to be quiet for a second and just a second, glance over the answers here.
Criteria.
Yes.
Indicators.
Yes.
Descriptors.
What are they? Descriptors. We'll get the right word. Thank you. I knew Phaedra would know.
Can you see the difference? Think about your lesson today any part of your lesson that you presented today. If you were the evaluator walking into your own classroom, where would you rank? Mm-hmm. Do you now think about tomorrow's lesson? Is there something you need to tweak, perfect, change, add to your lesson? This is and I hate to use the word guidebook because we use the guidebook, but this is your guide for helping you to present the content material in the way that your kids need to receive it in an effective manner. Okay, Cassie.
All right, because we're getting close to 6:30 and we all want to. Yeah, so I'm just going to go over a couple of little housekeeping things and just reminders. You should be working with your mentor on campus to do those that support if you were on a PL license for the first year. So just make sure that you're getting that support and that you are documenting it in that weekly log. It is on the Teach Caddo website. There's a link in here for you, and that's not it. It's this one. For you, if you need to log or not, you just click right here and it'll take you to the Google form to fill out. Only has to be done once a week. So just make sure that is getting done. That should have been getting done at least starting last week. So just if you want to backlog. Swivels. If you're in CTA, you know what a swivel is. If you are not in CTA, you have a swivel at your school that you can access. It is a robot that holds camera, holds an iPod, and it does a camera. I'm hearing a lot of people that are across the district using swivels because they're using it so much with virtual learning right now, and they're not really using it to the full capabilities. The whole fabulousness of what a swivel does is it's able to track you. So just sticking a swivel in the corner of your room and projecting and it just staying stagnant is defeating the purpose of the very expensive robot that you have access to. So I found a very up-to-date, it was created this summer. It's 17 minutes. I am not going to play it for you, but I encourage you to go and watch this video. This man specifically walks through all the components of the swivel. He shows you the tools. He goes on to the app for the iPad, shows you how to do it. It is so easy because we want to see the movement around your room, and just staring at one. If you saw a movie and it was one image the whole time, people would just probably lose it. So the whole point of a swivel is to either project and be engaged in moving around, or to watch that recording later and reflect on your practice. I encourage you to watch this video to learn a couple of tips and tricks. I also have included a hyperlink. I have collected quite a few videos about swivels, and I've put them in a YouTube channel. In a playlist on our YouTube channel. So when you get a chance, please go in and look at those, and maybe you'll get some ideas of ways to use swivel in your classroom, not only with your virtual students, but just to be able to reflect on your practice as well.
Cassie.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a request for the swivel information link and the NIET link to be put in the chat.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay.
Yeah, just give me a.
Yeah, I'm on my iPad, so I'm having
multitask. Y'all know I just can't do it. But give me a second, and we will. Announcements. Do y'all know what happens November 20th, or on or around November 20th? Not other than it's the last day before Thanksgiving break. You are getting a $500 Caddo bonus and a $500 state bonus. All certified teachers will be getting this in Caddo. Yippee. We always refer to it as our Black Friday shopping money, but you can refer to it however you want. We love getting that because then we have some extra money to go shopping. Thanksgiving break, of course, you all probably know that, and it's on your calendar in bold, is the November 23rd through the 27th. While y'all are going to be doing our brainstorm for our hot topics for December, I will put that information in the chat. I want to model some of you are probably very familiar with Padlet. Padlet is an opportunity for you to be able to brainstorm as a group. And I'm going to put it in the chat first. Oh, I need to share. I'm going to Copy the link. And I'm going to do it to everyone. I just sent you the Padlet. I would love for you to go in while I am uploading some other information in the chat and kind of give us some ideas of some things that you are wanting to get more information about, hot topics that you want, that you're like, what is this about in Caddo? If you have a question or anything, just click the plus, give it a title if you want to, and then write the answer. Once you do it, if somebody else has already written something that you want more information about, you can just do a thumbs up. And oh, Khan Academy, absolutely. Those are some great ones. So please feel free to update those. Anybody that has any questions, anything that we like burning questions that y'all need answered right now or anything, feel free to put them in the chat or just unmute yourself. While I'm waiting, there here is a link when you get this PowerPoint to our YouTube channel for you to go there. Any questions? I don't see any in the chat.
Where's the chat?
If you go down to the bottom, you should see.
For me, it's at the top.
Oh, well, everybody, it's different. If you're on a laptop, you can hit Alt-H and it'll come up. Awesome.
As we close out, I would like, if possible, for the CTA to stay on the Zoom for about an extra 5 minutes. I just need to cover some CTA business with you, please.
All right. So we have one more raffle to do. We have a Superior Grill $50 gift card. You must be present to win. I'm going to model another option. This is called Random Picker. And it's actually right here. I went in and I typed all of y'all's names in here for us to do a drawing. You can also upload a file, and then it just says pick, and look, everybody's name's coming up. Oh, and who's our winner? The winner is Joshua Samuel. Are you on, Joshua?
About that.
Woohoo!
All right, Joshua, you win a $50 gift card to Superior. We will get that to you. It'll probably be next week.
Okay.
So, but be looking for that. We will get it to you next week. So
Awesome.
we'll probably take it to the office at Bird and you can go get it. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Cassie, give it to me. I'll take it to him.
No, don't give it to her. Don't give it to her.
I know you're better than that. Take him out while we give it to him.
Okay. Just a reminder. Oops, sorry. Reminder, our next Zoom meeting, our CSI, is going to be December 3rd. Please register on KickUp if you haven't already. Want to remind you that all of our sessions, doesn't want to do. I'm just going to kick it out of it. All of our sessions are on Teach Caddo. If you just Google Teach Caddo and you go to the links and resources for Caddo schools, the spinning wheel of death, it's loading. There it is. All of our September and October, as well as the slide deck for all the hyperlinks, are here. Please feel, if you need to go back and look at anything, they're right here. Plus the videos are on YouTube. So this one's probably going to be real interesting to splice together, but it's there if you need to see or hear anything.